I think this hearing is important because we want to make sure that the NIH has the public's trust, that it is focused on transparency and scientific rigor when it comes to how we're using taxpayer funds to improve American health. And I commend you for taking on this role and this enormous responsibility, not just in what is mandated of you in this role in terms of improving NIH and how we are prolonging American lives, but restoring trust, which I think is a big agenda item that you have taken on and are committed to achieving. So thank you very much. Indeed, the NIH's support has led to revolutions in health, mapping the human genome, breakthroughs in treatment of HIV and AIDS, and CAR T therapy, just some of the accolades of the NIH. But in addition to this storied legacy, we have to question where we may have gone off path. And I think that's part of what you are bringing to this role now. Under the last administration, there was a point in time where the American life expectancy hit its lowest level since 1996. What we see from some reports, this is probably due to more than just COVID. There was a drug epidemic and many other things going on. But I think it raised a lot of eyebrows and concerns when the NIH seemed to start inserting political agendas outside of meeting high scientific standards and promoting American health in how it was disseminating taxpayer money. There's no doubt that the Biden administration required in grant funding for applicants to show DEI standards and numbers and measures and took that into account, right? I think some of the things that were canceled by the Trump administration were for research grants like sexual education programs for transgender and gender expansive youth, cannabis use among sexual minority and gender diverse individuals, an LGBT plus inclusive teen pregnancy prevention program for transgender boys, even transgender procedures on mice. There are more examples of this, but I point out that at a time when the life expectancy in America hit its lowest in decades, this is what we were pushing and making sure that our grant applicants were including in their applications, rather than how will your grant application expand life expectancy for Americans. And there were so many instances during the COVID years where Americans' constitutional rights in response to the pandemic were just wrecked. As Attorney General in Florida, when we went to become known as the freest state in the nation, the great free state of Florida, I had to push back against a lot of what was going on during the last administration. And that was coming out of these health institutions out of Washington. Americans were forced to take vaccines, forced to stay in their homes, forced to shut down their businesses, forced out of their jobs, forced to stay home from school and church. I mean, I can keep going, but this was becoming commonplace during those years, pushed out of health institutions in Washington. In fact, when I was Attorney General, our office conducted a grand jury investigation, and the grand jury found that while we were pushing things out of Washington, pushing for more and more vaccines, more and more boosters, that scientists that were raising concerns, they saw their careers destroyed for speaking publicly. I mean, these were scientists, doctors. And I think one of the things that you bring back to bear is how can we encourage dialogue, scientific rigor. And so can you tell us what your steps since taking office have been to restore American trust in the NIH, that it is, in fact, mission-driven to improving American health and not other political agendas?
Senator, thanks for that question. To me, the key measure of my success as an NIH director will be, have we actually made Americans healthier at the end of the term, and the discoveries continue to make Americans healthier, reverse the life expectancy flatlining that we've seen since 2010. The steps I've taken are to direct the institute directors who make the portfolio choices I'm going to evaluate them on the basis of, do they actually make Americans healthier? All Americans, every single American should benefit from NIH-funded research tangibly. Senator Cassidy talked about lost hope. We have to address that by better treatments, better cures, better understanding of disease. And I've worked to depoliticize the agency, to remove the kind of focus on tangential things that have nothing to do with making Americans healthier that I think characterize some of what we had before, but instead now focus directly only on improving American health.